Are you ready to go on an adventure? Let's go! Pack your project bags because we are going to Salem, Massachusetts to go to the Fiber Witch Festival. Hello, my name is Meg and I am the yarn dyer behind Megs & Co. And earlier this year, I took a road trip to Salem, Massachusetts to attend the Fiber Witch Festival, and I want to bring you along to my entire road trip. So let's go! This video is going to be a little bit of a mix of some vlogging that I did while I was there, as well as me sitting here and filling in some of the details, especially because I had so much fun that honestly there are a lot of moments where I did just forget to pull out my camera and record, and that's okay. That's what going on vacation is for. It's for unplugging and just living in the moment. But I really want to share about how wonderful the festival was, all of the fun things that I got up to, and maybe some tips and tricks for if you want to go for next year. And of course, what did I end up buying, because we all want to see those hauls. So please stick around and let's hit the road. Our bags are packed and we are officially on our way to Salem, Massachusetts to go to the Fiber Witch Festival. Are you ready? Well, technically, we have to make a stop first because unfortunately the puppies are not coming with us. I actually have two puppies back here. I don't know if you can see them both. This one's not a very good backseat driver. Come on, Lou, get back. Get back. I have two puppies. They are Wheaten Terriers. There's two of them back there. So we are making one quick pit stop before we get on the thruway for our 6-hour drive to Massachusetts. Come on, buddy. But yeah, really excited. So we board these guys when we go on longer trips. Sometimes we do take them. We had thought about taking them on this trip, but I don't know. We just had too many things planned and it didn't make sense. Oh, traffic is already trafficking. But yeah, we are very fortunate to have a really nice kennel by us that they really enjoy. They get to just play with other dogs the whole time, so it's really great. Anyway, so yeah, I'm excited. We're off. And yeah, so my name is Meg. This is the Between the Skeins podcast on YouTube, and this is the very start of our journey to Salem, Massachusetts to go to the Fiber Witch Festival. So I'm going to go to the Yarn Festival, and we are planning to attend the Soirée of the Sea Witch that is on Saturday night. Today is Thursday. But then we're also, of course, gonna make a fun little weekend out of it to do all of the fun touristy things, visit some friends as well. So very exciting. Okay, back to the road. Last minute snuggles before we drop these guys off. Time. Only took us like 6 hours exactly. We hit traffic where I feel like we knew we were going to hit traffic kind of coming into Boston, but it was not bad. We timed it to hit before rush hour, so again, Boston traffic is gonna Boston, but like, it was pretty good. Just normal construction. What did you think? I actually didn't drive. I just did my crafts the whole time, so.
Just seemed like an annoying amount of construction this time.
Well,
it is the season.
It is the season. It is spring. But yeah, I thought it was smooth sailing. Did a great job driving. So yeah, we left the house at like 8:30.
Yeah.
Dropped off the dogs and got into Salem at like 3:30. So Rochester to Macedon to Salem, pretty good timing. So we are staying at the Hampton Inn that is right downtown. We've actually stayed here before, and I was just commenting that I'm pretty sure we might have even stayed in the same exact room, or at least very close, because our view is, yeah, maybe we were just like a little bit down, but our view is pretty much like exactly the same, which is kind of funny. But it's a great view. We can see the Old Town Hall where the Fiber Rich Festival is going to be taking place, and it's just so easy, so walkable. There's a parking garage like right below, so we parked a car. Do not plan to move it for, well, we are visiting some friends in another town, so we are going to have to move our car to go visit our friends. But other than that little excursion, we are not planning on moving our car until we have to go home. And but yeah, we're about to head out to get some food. Because we did not want to hit rush hour, we did not stop for food. So I'm starving. I have not eaten since this morning. So we're gonna go find some food, go find something fun to do, because vacation mode has officially begun. But so I've got some good news, bad news about the Paris skirt. Good news, I made a ton of progress on my drive. So I made a ton of progress on my Paris skirt at Fiber Night last night, as well as on the drive today. I worked on it pretty much consistently throughout the whole drive. I put it down for a couple hours to pick up my laptop and do a little bit of work, but other than that, I was pretty much knitting on it the entire 6-hour drive. But I still have at least 4, maybe 5 inches that I really want to add on to it. And I don't know, I had that thought of like, you know, do I just bind it off? Do I just do it? But I have put so much time into this. I've been working on it since January. And not only that, so much money into this. I am on skein 13, 14 or so. And it just seems like at this point, like to just call it good is just not fair to the project. So like I said in a previous video, I'm pretty sure I said this in a previous video that I filmed a couple days ago, I packed a dress. So I don't think my beautiful Paris skirt is on the bed. I don't think I'm gonna be able to wear it. This beautiful skirt that I have been working on since January, specifically for this event, I don't think it is going to make its debut here for Fiber Rich, but that's okay, because I am gonna still, you know, remember that it is this event that all the love poured into this project and the inspiration poured into this project, and I brought it with me and I worked on it here. And you know what, I'm still gonna finish this, and it's just gonna mean that I'm going to have my very first project finished for all my fall festivals. So that's my little bit of good news, bad news for the Paris skirt. Anyway, but that's why I do have a dress. So backup plan secured, no big deal. Anyway, time for me to be quiet because we are going to go explore. Definitely feeling antsy after being in the car all day. So you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. So the Paris skirt. Let's take a moment to briefly talk about the Paris skirt. So I have been hyping the Paris skirt since January. If you want to go back, I have made several vlog videos of the Paris skirt, the making of the Paris skirt, the journey of the Paris skirt. So it goes back to the special yarn. It is a mermaid sparkle alpaca Surrey silk yarn. Absolutely exquisite. Selecting the yarn, dyeing the yarn, selecting the project, and then working on this project for months and months. And yes, I really tried. Did I try hard enough? Probably not, but the Paris skirt did not get finished in time. And just, you know, in all honesty, it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. You know, we only have so much time. So have I worked on the Paris skirt since I put it down in Salem? No, not a stitch. Oh my gosh, you guys, why do I do this to myself? I am absolutely determined. Oh my gosh, I just want to snuggle it. I'm absolutely determined to get this finished by the end of summer. So this video is a great check-in for me to get this bag back up onto the top of my projects pile and to get working on this again. I just got really bored with it. It's huge. It's so huge, and it just started to get really repetitive. And I mean, you just go around one time, and I mean, that's an hour, and you're like, wow, I've done nothing. And then especially I started adding beads to the bottom, and I know it sounds weird, but I actually kind of regret adding beads to it because I just don't think it's adding anything of value, because this yarn already has sparkle. And so it's like, did it need beads? Part of my thinking is that the beads would actually add a little bit of weight to really emphasize that beautiful bell. I just want something that's like super twirly, swirly, you know, so maybe I'll come back around once it is off the needles and I do see just how beautiful it is, and it will catch the light a little bit more and just add that nice weight to it. But adding the beads just incredibly slowed me down. And that's probably why, it's absolutely why I couldn't finish it on time, because I was making really great progress. And then essentially once I started adding beads to it, it's like, nope, project is doomed. So here's the Paris skirt as it is today. It's exactly where I had left off in the car. But I absolutely plan to finish this by the end of summer. I want this to be just a staple for all of my fall festivals. And I have 2 fall events coming up. I plan to be vending at the Fairport Fiber Festival. That's in August in my home little town of Fairport, New York. And then I always call it my big main event because I'm a little small, a teeny tiny little small business. So the biggest show that I do every year is the Western New York Fiber Arts Festival. That's in, it's in East Aurora. Yes. It's just outside of Buffalo, New York. It's a fabulous festival. It's my favorite event of the year. So those are my 2 fall events. And then, of course, I hope to make it to Rhinebeck this year. And so you'll be seeing so much Paris skirt. And then I definitely want to make a beautiful little flowy, drapey top to go with it as well. So, yep, Paris skirt check-in is still a whip. Oh my gosh, it's a cloud. And so many people have been asking about the yarn. Yes, the yarn is going to be coming to the shop. I am working on it as we speak. I really wanted to get this video posted before I popped the pre-order up in my shop. I'm gonna probably be doing this as a pre-order because I just want to make sure that everyone gets all the quantities and the colors that they want, but I wanted to be offering all of these colors. There's actually 5 different colors in this skirt. I do not expect anybody else to be casting on a skirt because this has so far, I think 12 skeins. Like, it's insane. It's an insane amount. So please don't just use your scraps for a skirt like this. Like, that's just insane. But I do plan to be offering all of those colors in the shop, as well as I've been working on adding some additional colors as well for the summer collection. So I just wanted to get those out as a pre-order, and then I can just dye them as quickly as they're coming in. So that is some new little updates for the shop. Anyway, so day one, we wandered out, and fortunately it was still early enough that we could pop into a couple shops, but mostly we were just on the hunt for food. And we realized very quickly that we were absolutely exhausted. So we pretty much just found a place to eat, a place to drink, and parked there for most of the evening. This was still hockey season, and the Sabres were playing the Boston Bruins, so we also watched the game. And of course, I had my knitting with me. So it was all around a great evening. The next day was Friday, and this was our big tourist day. I had so much fun. We explored the entire city of Salem. We walked so much, my poor feet, but it was so worth it. We started our day at Black Craft Coffee. I love going to local coffee shops and getting a fun brew, and then this coffee shop is really neat because not only is it a coffee shop, but then they have a really fun store, so while you're sipping on your coffee, you can get some shopping done. From there, we continued to just wander around wherever something caught our eye. So we really didn't have a specific plan. We just kind of went store to store, just wandering up and down Essex Street and eventually making our way over to the wharf. We grabbed some lunch. We checked out Notch Brewery. It was just all around a great day. Eventually, we did wind up at the Salem Witch Trial Memorial. It's always a bit somber, but it's definitely something that you have to check out when you head over there. Cup of coffee. Look, she drank your coffee. Traveling was to visit a friend that lives very close to the area. It was such a beautiful scenic drive to go down the coast, and I loved being treated to a wonderful home-cooked meal that was all European inspired. We had some great Brazilian cheese bread, some Portuguese food, and it was just so much fun. It's just always great to visit friends, and she has a motorcycle, and so after dinner she took me on a ride to tour the whole beach area, and I have to say I kind of want a motorcycle now. It was so much fun to just see the whole town that way on the back of a bike and then to cruise up and down the beach. Kind of felt really cool. A little bit badass, not gonna lie. So we wandered back to Salem after spending some great time with friends, and kind of have a funny story here. So there is this nightclub that's right next to our hotel. It's, I guess, in the same building. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's like right on the corner of the Hampton Inn on Derby Street. And this is not our first time in this nightclub. I guess, little spoiler alert. But it was still early enough. We didn't want to go into bed. And so we see that this nightclub, it's hopping, it's popping, and we've been in here before, and so we're like, let's just go check it out. We kind of make fun of this, not make fun of it, but we had such a funny story the last time that we're like, we gotta go in, we have to get a drink. It's let's just make it a little tradition now that like this club is what we do. So we did. We went into the club and no regrets here. So the last time that we were in Salem, the last time that we went to Salem for the Fiber Witch Festival, we stayed at the same Salem Hampton Inn, and it was the same nightclub slash bar, but they've definitely like rebranded. I'm not a local, so I don't know if it has sold to new owners or if it's just like a rebranding, but it definitely was a completely different place in terms of like style, aesthetic, theme, decor, name, all of the things. It is now a country western bar, so not my typical music. So when we were there before, there was just a kind of a normal bar in the front, and when you walked through to the back room, they had a DJ playing and he was just spinning just some really great club music. And if you follow me on Instagram, a lot of times when I'm dyeing yarn, I like to post in real time what I'm working on, shots in the dye room, and I usually don't edit them very much, so you can typically hear the music that I'm listening to. And I love me some good dance music, some EDM, house music, all of that. When I'm dyeing yarn, I'm on my feet, I'm jumping, I'm dancing. I am not a good dancer. I am so clumsy. I am all legs and not in a good way at all. But that's what was so awesome about when we went there last time, because it was literally just us. And I hope I have some footage here that I can just kind of insert. I'll have to dig through my camera roll. I don't even know if I took any. But it was just us. I think there was maybe one or two other couples, but like it was literally just us and the DJ in this room with a little bar. And so it's like you're not fighting your way through the club, and we could just sit down and we just kept requesting songs. So I'm just like, yeah, like play like Kesha and Lady Gaga, and I'm just like, play all the music that I want to hear, and the DJ was just remixing it and it was so good. And meanwhile, it's like 9:30 at night, millennial super hour for going to the club. And we had this whole place to ourselves, and I could dance like a complete fool because one, nobody knows who I am. So I'm like, no one knows who I am. Like I'm just living in complete anonymity, and I loved it. And we had a blast, and we left, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock when some people did start to kind of show up. And it was perfect. I'm like, what a perfect club night. And we laugh about it all the time that like we went to the club. And so I'm like, we have to go back. Like we have to like do it again. But for whatever reason, the country theme really brought people out. It was a little bit later because like I said, we were visiting friends and we had stayed for a while, but it wasn't like too late. You know, it probably was like 10:30, but it was packed. It was absolutely packed. We did happen to find 2 seats at the bar because I was like, I'm not going to do like standing room only and shove shoulders, that kind of a thing. But we did find 2 seats. And so we're like, okay, let's just get a drink and a little nightcap before we go to bed. And it was just fun. It was just kind of fun to just watch, you know, I don't know, just watch like the nonsense unfold, you know, the mating rituals, if you will. And it's just, there's still there's always like the creepy guy just like lurking in the corner. There's always like the bro squad. There's always the girls that are just flirting to get free drinks, and the guys are so clueless because like it's so obvious they're only hitting on you to get free drinks. And I'm just like seeing just all the little rituals play out in real time, and I'm like, it's nothing ever changes, and I love it. It's just it was so much fun. And we actually like met this really cool dude that is a local, and it was really funny because he just sits down there and he sat next to us, and it's just like the three of us are just so out of place. It's like everyone there is like 23 and under, and then there's us, not 23. And he's just this very like lumberjack looking guy, and he had rolled up on a motorcycle, and he was just telling us and how he's just like this master wood crafter, and he had just finished his day, but he goes there because the PBR is the cheapest in town. And I'm like, you put up with this to have cheap PBR? I just thought it was so funny. Anyway, so that's how we finished our Friday night. It was fun, it was eventful, and I highly recommend it. Saturday, dun, da, da, da. So this is the big Fiber Festival day. So technically the Salem Witch Festival ran for 2 days. It was on both Saturday and Sunday, but Saturday was the day that I had my ticket for, because you had to buy your ticket. You didn't have to buy a ticket in advance, but you did have to have a ticket. And so Saturday was the day that I had my ticket for, and Saturday night was also the night that I had a ticket for one of the other events, which was the Soirée, which was the Sea Witch themed soiree. I will say that there was a whole bunch of other events that were also going on. You could do a trolley tour that was put on by them. There were some various meetups like Sit and Stitches. There was a whole bunch of other stuff. And if I were to go back again and maybe do it with friends, I would absolutely just do a full immersive experience. I would do all the things. I would sign up for everything that I possibly could. I just think it would be a lot of fun. The only reason I didn't this time was, again, I was traveling with my husband, and so we were trying to balance that, making sure that it was still a fun trip for him, because he is not into the fiber arts. So I could run away and I could do my things, but still making sure that it was a fun trip for the both of us. So we were doing a good mix of visiting friends, touristing, and then I could run away for a couple hours to go to my fiber festival. So that was all. Is I just, kind of pick and chose, where we kind of disappeared to. He was really excited to go to the Soirée of the Seas. So I will say that was like the one thing I was like, hey, do you want to dress up and like go to this thing? And he was like, yeah, of course. And one of the things I didn't mention was, on Friday when we were out shopping, we actually found the best piece for his costume. So you didn't necessarily have to like dress up in costume, but it was definitely suggested that you came in some sort of theme. And many people did full on dress up, and I will say, like, loved it. It just made the event so much better. And we were really struggling with, like, for the men's costume, how do you have formal wear but still interpreting like Sea Witch? I don't know. I was just struggling with that creativity part, and so he just kind of had a little formal setup. He had his shirt, his slacks, his tie, that kind of a thing. And he just had lots of blues and was really just matching it to my outfit. But while we were wandering around Salem, we popped into this one shop, and it was actually really funny because it's a shop that sells crochet hats for cats. And that's why we went in there, because we wanted to buy some hats for our cat, Simon. And yes, I know I can crochet my own hats, but sometimes it's just really nice to get something that was already made, and I wanted to bring him home a little souvenir. And while we were in there, they had all these other funky hats, and one of them was this light up, like full kind of helmety hat of an anglerfish, and I was like, oh my gosh, you have to get that. Like, that is so perfect for this event. And he did. And I love that. I love that. He's on board with anything. So he did end up wearing that to the Soirée of the Sea. I'm totally getting ahead of myself. So let's get into it. Saturday. So Saturday was the day of the event. So you could buy your tickets in advance. They had a couple different timed entries when you could go in to kind of control the crowds. It is a very small space that this takes place in. It's in the Old Town Hall. If you have ever seen the movie Hocus Pocus, it's where Hocus Pocus was filmed, and it's not a big building at all. And I will give them so much credit for how many vendors that they did pack into this building. And it doesn't feel, when you're in there, like there are that many vendors, but the aisles are small. So if you are somebody that gets kind of overwhelmed really easily, you do have to go in there kind of anticipating that even with really great crowd control, it's tight. It's very tight. It only takes 2 or 3 people to kind of be around you that all of a sudden there's just no space at all. So it's just something to be aware of, but they do a great job of really limiting how many people can go in there. So because of that, I will say be prepared to wait. Even if you have a ticket, you are going to be waiting in line. Again, it's just a small space. So, you know, bring your knitting, bring a friend, and just be prepared. So what did I wear? Because what you wear to a festival is always so much fun. It's always so much fun to be able to finally show off your knits. And what I wore is what I'm wearing today. So this is the seashell pullover. This is by Cape May Fiber, who is actually one of the vendors that was at the event. And I was so excited that like not only was this absolutely in theme, but I could wear something that was designed by a fellow maker that I look up to so much. She just has such incredible yarn and such an incredible eye for color. But just the fact that like she's also an incredible designer, and I'm so just awed by the pairing of the design and the yarn, and she spins, and she's a great designer, dyer, business owner. I would definitely give her a follow if you are not already. So she designed this. I knit this last year. It actually has little beads in it. I don't know if these are going to get picked up by the camera, but you don't have to do the beading if you don't want to, but it's just a simple circular yoke. I added additional colors. It's just meant to be 2 colors, but I think I actually did 3 colors. There's a yellow portion in here that kind of blends. But I did 3 colors for the yoke and then 1 for the main color. And then there's beads in there too that just add some really fun interest. It's fingering weight, so it's nice and light, perfect for the spring. I love it. I love it, just fits perfectly. And it was so on theme. So I wore this. And then I also, because it was a little chilly, I also brought along my Moon Sisters shawl. This is a gigantic shawl that I knit quite a few years ago now by Caitlin Hunter. This is holding 2 strands of fingering weight yarn together. And what's cool about this is you hold 2 strands of fingering weight together, and then for the center spine is you just drop one of those strands to do the color work. So then that way you're not using intarsia for that center spine, because you just knit one at a time, so you can do stranded color work for the spine, and then you just hold your 2 strands together again. It's a really neat idea to be able to get that stranded color work spine, but then you have a nice heavy DK weight shawl. This is like one of my favorite shawls for that, you know, when it's just kind of cool outside. It's like you don't want a coat, but it's just chilly. It's nice and big. The fringe, I love it. And I paired it with holding together 1 strand of my Glamour Girl, which is a sparkle yarn, with 1 strand of just a regular fingering weight. So you can see the sparkle, but it's very subtle since you're holding only 1 strand of that sparkle. And I love it. I've actually thought about making another one. It's amazing how much I grab this. It's huge, but it's just one of those things where it's like when I'm sitting on the deck, I wrap it around my shoulders. You know, I love it. I love when I look at it and it's like there's snags in it. It's getting so beat up, and I love that. It's getting used. Yeah, it's it's literally probably one of my most used shawls as an actual shawl because I wear it around like it's a blanket. And it was pretty easy. Like, it's a very good, easy end of day kind of mindless knit because you're just doing rotating rows of garter and stockinette. The increases are easy to memorize. It just takes a lot of yarn. So I want to say that I used 8 skeins total, but I don't know if I would make one this big again. I think I would probably just make it a little bit shorter because it is very, very long. And the fringe also you just need a lot of yarn because of the fringe, but the fringe makes it exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. So I wore these. I also had a really fun hat. I'll insert some photos here. I had a super fun hat, and I don't have it here to show you because I had actually made this hat for my sister and my niece about a year ago, and so I had to go to her house and steal the hat back. And then I added some additional details onto the hat to be in theme for this event. So I added like a seashell sash onto the hat that wasn't on the hat previously, and so she has the hat. So there was a morning entry, and then there was 2 different afternoon entries. So I got entry for the second entry, so that first afternoon one, and it was perfect because I could go to lunch and then walk over to the town hall. So here's some things to kind of be aware of for next year. So when I got there, I had gotten there probably 15 minutes or so after my time had started. So I can't remember specifically what time on my ticket it said to go. So I'm just going to say 1 p.m. And so I got there at like 1:15. And I approached from the back side of the town hall. So not from Essex Street, like walking up the front of it. I approached from the back side because I was coming up from Derby Street. And I say this because all I saw was just this giant line. And I guess like a sheep, I just queued. I just get in this giant line and I'm not really thinking about it. I just get in the line. There wasn't any signs. I didn't see any other lines. I didn't see any staff directing anybody, or there was just nothing telling you that there is a different line. There was, like I said, there was no signs, no staff. And so I'm standing there for a while and it's just not moving. I stood there for about a full 30 minutes and it's just not moving. And I just thought it was really strange. And I was like, I have a ticket. Like, I understand that they're only letting a few people in at a time. But I was like, it's just not moving. And I kind of overheard somebody saying, well, you have a ticket. You should just go. Like, don't wait for us. And I was like, is there another line? So my husband was nice enough to stand in the line with me. Obviously, he wasn't going to go into the festival. He was just going to kind of go off and shop somewhere else while I was in the actual event. But he was standing in line with me, just hanging out, keeping me company. And so I was like, hey, can you go to the front of the building? Because I was so wrapped. I was like completely behind it. It was just wrapped behind. And there's probably 200 people in front of me. I was like, can you go to the front of the building and see if by chance there's a line in the front of the building that's different from what I'm in? Like, am I in the need tickets line when I should be in a have tickets line? And sure enough, I was in the wrong line. And I bring this up because this is definitely kind of my biggest little gripe here, is that they're just, depending on how you walk up, I just feel like there could have been a little bit better direction here. Like, yes, I was a sheep and I just saw a line and I queued. Here's a line, let's queue. But there was no other indication that there was a different line. So thankfully, I had overheard somebody and was like, okay, I have somebody I can send to go investigate. So yeah, he was like, yeah, get out of this line. So I had wasted a full half hour just standing, and that line never moved. I never moved because essentially they have to let the entire have tickets line in first before they're gonna start letting people who need tickets in. So yeah, so then I walked around to the front of the building, and there's just one sign on the door in the front of the building. That's it. So you have to walk up basically to the front door, and you don't see it if there's people queuing in line. So that part just wasn't very clear, I think, unless you specifically approach from that front of the building and have to literally walk up to the door and see that there's 2 lines, and the staff are only standing at the front door. I didn't see at any point that they were giving information or directing people. So that's my kind of critique for something that I thought that they could just do a little bit better. I mean, for them, they're like, whatever, they're letting people in, they don't care who they're letting in. So I got into the other line and then still had to wait another 20 minutes because now I'm in the back of that line. So eventually I did get in. And then it was great. And I have lots of footage of going through the event. It's definitely a little crowded, a little cramped, but it's still so worth going through there. I just feel like it's an event that is so well curated. They do a really great job of really jurying this event by specifically selecting vendors that go together really well and making sure that they don't have so much overlap that the amount of product is heavily swayed in one way or the other. So they have a lot of really interesting things. And especially too, if you do bring others along that maybe aren't into the fiber crafts, that there's enough other things for them to shop. And especially for somebody like me, I like to have other things to buy because I have a yarn shop. So when I go to fiber events like this, I'm typically not looking for yarn specifically, or I'm looking for non-traditional yarn bases. I'm looking for something very unique, very special. I will get into what I purchased, and that kind of leads me into what I purchased, why I purchased it, and what I'm looking for. I'm looking for things that are incredibly different, very bespoke, very unique, things that I can't buy in my shop, or I can't stock in my own shop. a lot of farm breeds, but a lot of times I'm also looking for tools. I'm just looking for those very different things, and that's just because, hello. So I shop very differently, and I just really loved and really appreciated how amazingly well curated this event was. So hands down to the organizers, just an absolute fantastic job. So what did I purchase? Well, first up, this absolutely adorable and amazing cauldron mug. This is from Golden Earth Designs. I am just so impressed by how well crafted this mug is. I had to have it. It's just so on theme for the event. And I have literally been drinking my coffee out of this every morning ever since I've been home. Next up is this beautiful bag from Home Row Handcraft. You can see it's already stuffed full. I've been using it ever since I've gotten home. And again, I'm just obsessed. I love the shape. It's just the perfect size. It's got a handle. I love that I can loop it. I'm just always keeping my eyes out for just well-crafted, thoughtful, intentional designs like this that are just so incredibly functional, but also just look incredible. The canvas is super thick. It's easy to clean. And it's just super cute. I love how it like looks like a little lunchbox. And yeah, so what's inside? I have been working on redesigning my Empire shawl that I designed and released last year. I've been working on redesigning it to be less colors and on fingering weight. So that's a little teaser for later. And I did pick up some yarn. So my first yarn purchase is from Valkyrie Fibers. And it's some self-striping sock yarn. I have so much respect for dyers that do self-striping sock yarn or self-striping just yarn in general. It is such a labor of love. If you can ever find some videos on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok of the self-striping yarn dyeing process, it's so involved. You have to lay it out on a warping board, dye all the individual sections, rewarp it. It's intense. I have tried to do it and I gave up. So I have so much appreciation for it that these are those treasures that I love to purchase. And I thought that this was one of the show colors. So I love that not only is the show color incredible, but I thought it was a great color where I could make a pair of socks for my husband as a Christmas present. So win-win. And next up is from Cape May Fiber, the designer of my lovely sweater. Let me show you this bag. It's probably gonna just be really reflecty, but look at this fun iridescent bag. It's so pretty. So my big yarn purchase was from Cape May Fiber. I picked up a sweater quantity. They have a brand new yarn that's called Ramble Paca. Here's the label. It is 70% American Rambouillet Merino, 30% New Jersey Farm Haikua Alpaca. It is a sport weight. It is 370 yards per 100 grams. It's really soft. It's so nice. It just has a beautiful like springiness to it. Ever so slight halo. I'm actually surprised there isn't more of a halo considering that it has that alpaca. But we'll see, you know, once you start knitting with it. But I got a whole bunch of different colors. I got kind of two complementary, kind of a mauve and a magenta-y color. And then I got a little pop of color with the nice mustard. And then as my main color, so my plan is to do a 3-color yoke sweater with this. And then as my main color, I have this like charcoal. I just thought that it looked really sharp, really elegant, the kind of thing that like, you know, we'll just go with anything. A pair of black pants for something like really dressed up and elegant for work, a pair of jeans. You can just kind of wear with everything. And so I was really drawn to this because, again, this is something that's like very special, very different. So this is a custom spun yarn. It's domestically sourced. And then I believe that she told me that the alpaca is from one of her neighbor's farms. So super bespoke, super special. It's one of those things that, you know, it comes from like single shearing events and then a single spinning event. So, you know, yarns like these only come around once. And it's so soft. It's so wonderful. The Rambouillet is going to add a nice springiness to it, like as in elasticity. So it's going to make a wonderful garment that's super warm. And I'm really excited to get that started. I'll probably start it like later in the fall, but I was really excited to be able to get this. So this is something that, as a dyer who has their own shop, these are those types of treasures that I'm looking for, because this is a yarn that I don't have access to in my own shop, because this is something that she specifically commissioned and put together. So a true treasure. I do have another kind of honorable mention. So I actually didn't buy this at the event. It had started to kind of sell out a little bit. I think there might have been one package left, and I was just like, you know, I just bought this sweater quantity and was like, I think I'm good. And I had gone back to my hotel and I was like, oh, it was really beautiful. And fortunately, the dyer from Dying Wishes Yarn Co. posted that they were going to do a pre-order for it, because it did end up selling out, and I was like, yes. So it worked out perfectly. So this is the Iridescent Mermaid mini set. Look how pretty it is. So it is a sparkle set, and if you look very carefully, it is that same mermaid. So it's a rainbow stellina. It is that same rainbow stellina that's in my alpaca yarn for my Paris skirt. But this is in a sock yarn. So this is a 75% superwash merino wool, 15% nylon, 10% mermaid stellina sparkle. So while I do have access to the mill and the distributor that sells this, it's not something that I'm planning to bring into my shop. And these colors, just absolutely gorgeous. I'm stunned, I'm blown away. I'm obsessed. And they also did a collaboration, Dying Wishes and Cape May, they did a collaboration with these colors, and Cape May, Vanessa of Cape May Fibers, she designed a shawl specifically for mini skein set, and so they both put together different mini skein sets, and the shawl was stunning, and I kind of want to make it my summer shawl project. So I was so excited, because again, these are those things where I'm just like, I'm blown away. So I'm really excited that I got this. So that's it. That's my haul. I'm delighted. I'd love to know if you went to the festival, what are some of the things that you picked up? Maybe put them in the comments below. And that brings us to Saturday night and the soiree. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. So it was basically just like prom for adults. I loved every minute of it. So here are some clips.
Dance to the rhythm now. Just move sound is loud, beat is on. People dancing to the song. Without fail, who prevails? Is your body twist and fails? Don't be shy, I can't be wrong. If you feel it, then it's strong. Party time, sipping drinks as your shoulders rise and sink. Dance to the rhythm now. Just move your feet, listen to the kicks and snares. As you ride that beat, dancing till the sun comes up. Soon you stay moving till your limbs go numb. Your knees feel weak. Dance to the rhythm now. Just move your feet, listen to the kicks and snares. As you ride that beat, dancing till the sun comes up. Soon you stay moving till your limbs go numb. Your knees feel weak. Who needs the sleep now? Who needs the sleep now? The sound is loud, beat is on.
In short, everyone was obsessed with my husband's hat. It was essentially like I was invisible and didn't exist. Everyone wanted a photo with him and his stupid hat. I'm so happy that he wore it. It really was a hit. And I hope that he gets to wear his stupid hat again. My honest opinion of the soiree. How was it and would I go again? So it's basically prom for adults. It is so much fun. I mean, who doesn't want to dress up and to dress up in theme? I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And I gotta be honest, I want to bring something like this to the Rochester, New York area. I just think that we would have an absolute ball with it. Ha, pun there, a ball. And if you're down with that, let me know, because this is something that I really think that we need to plan. It was so much fun. So I think with that being said, would I go again? I think ultimately, yes. I think to have more events that we can plan for, dress up for, and it's just elegant and fun. And so it was a great theme, and I loved it. We don't get to go to prom anymore because we're grown-ups, ew, right? And usually it's things like weddings, and I love a good wedding, don't get me wrong. But like sometimes you just want something really casual and informal to dress up for. And that's why I loved this event. I think that there's definitely some constructive criticism that could be given. One of the things was that it was just a little confusing on where to go. And this is all constructive criticism. I think that this might be more at fault for the actual Salem Hotel. And I'm going to get into this also a little bit later, because we had another issue with trying to find a different event with the Salem Hotel, and it just seemed like the staff was completely clueless. So this took place at the Salem Hotel, Hotel Salem, I don't know. And if you're on Essex Street, that's where the big sign is, and it seems like that's where you should walk in, but it's not. You had to like go around the back, and they did send instructions about walking around to the back, but I don't know, you're reading it and it wasn't entirely clear about walking around to the back. So we were on Essex Street, we had walked up. And mind you, you're completely dressed up, you're wearing stupid shoes. And so we walked into the hotel, and there was elevators, but the staff weren't letting people use the elevators. So there was a whole group of us. There was us, there was a whole bunch of other people that were arriving. And it was just really awkward because the hotel staff just said that the people running the event said that we weren't allowed to use the elevators. And again, like I said, we were all wearing stupid shoes. It was not warm outside, and we're wearing our dresses, and I had bare shoulders, and so we were all just like, okay, so where do we go? And she gave us these directions about how we have to like go down this alley and around to the back. It is dark now, and so we go down this one alley, and there were some houseless people that were participating in drug use. And it was just very uncomfortable. There was a man peeing on the side of the wall. And we were just like, and we couldn't find where to go. And eventually we run up to a gate and we're like, this goes nowhere. So we literally go back into the hotel and we're like, we couldn't find it. And she's like, I can't let you use the elevator. The people running the event said you can't. And so we're like, okay. So we go down the other alley and there were other drug users there. And it was just a little uncomfortable. But we found it. But again, you had to go down either one of these alleys where there was just, unfortunately there's, a big homeless population that's there. And it just, it's unfortunate. It just is what it is. So we navigated our way through that and we found this back entrance and we got in. And so by the time we got in, it took us about literally an extra 20 minutes of walking all around this block trying to find it. So by the time we got in, we were cutting it a little close to like when it was supposed to start. And so we get in line for drinks. And this is my second big criticism. That drink line was just insane. So we're standing in line, kind of like it seemed like the theme of the day was just stand in line and wait forever. So there was 2 big drink lines and neither one of them seemed to be moving. They had curated these really fun specialty cocktails, but they didn't like make these cocktails ahead of time. Like they didn't make like master mixes of the cocktail. So they're hand mixing each individual cocktail for every person who's ordering it, which is fine if you're in like a regular bar with lots of bartenders and, people that aren't not hundreds of people that are ordering all of these drinks, just the few people that are coming to a bar. So it just seemed crazy that they're trying to individually make 100 of these mermaid tail cocktails one at a time, all at once. So it was a little insane. Again, why they weren't making these in pitchers and then dispensing them, beyond me. That is my, again, constructive criticism. So we were waiting and waiting, and then the opening ceremony started. And so it was just, you either missed the ceremony or you got a drink. And it took us 45 minutes to get a drink. I'm just gonna say that. And then it just seemed like the event was incredibly understaffed, incredibly. And that was just, I think, a little bit unfortunate when you pay as much as you do for this ticket, and there's just not the staff to pay attention to the people that are there. I don't know if it was just the hotel or the amount of people that they hired. I don't know, what went on behind the scenes. But that would be my biggest thing, is for what I paid for this, I shouldn't have to wait 45 minutes to get a beverage. That's unacceptable. So that was just a little like, okay. But other than that, I thought the event was absolutely wonderful. There was dancing. There's a cute little photo place that you could take your photos. Oh, I thought the other thing, a tripod, because there was no like tripod or anything to put your phone on to take a photo. So someone always had to like be available, but that was like a little detail. But other than that, I thought it was exceptional. It was so much fun, and I would love to do it again. So winding down our weekend, by Sunday morning, you can imagine we were exhausted. We still wanted to make the most of our weekend. We definitely slept in, but we did a lot more touring around. I really wanted to do something that was just very touristy, very Salem-y. So we found a really fun haunted house. We went back to Blackcraft. They have a haunted house in the warehouse that's like behind their store and coffee shop. And we walked through that. It was super creepy, super fun, highly recommend it. It was actually very well done. I've been through quite a few haunted houses and I give them a lot of credit. They did a great job setting this up. And I actually think it's a lot better to go through these in the off season. I say that because they didn't have any actors. So I don't necessarily like haunted houses when there's a lot of actors and they're jumping out at you. I think it's just enough that you're just kind of walking through this creepy little museum, and it's enough to see the displays and whatever. I don't need people, hiding behind curtains and jump scaring me. That's too much. So I really appreciated that it was just going through it, and that was enough. And so we kind of got our fix of our creepy haunted Salem. And from there, we really just took it easy because bright and early Monday morning, we had to hit the road to head home. That was it. And that was our weekend. It was so much fun. I loved that we really got to do an exciting mix of sitting by the sea, doing the soiree, going to a fiber festival, doing so much walking about, doing all the touristy things. We did so much shopping. I'm not even getting into all the really fun shops that we went into Salem. We went into bookstores, we went into plant stores. If it's a shop in Salem, I think we went into it. I mean, we went like one by one by one. We went into clothing stores. Oh my gosh. We had so much fun. I brought home 2 hats for my cat, and he hates them, but I love them. And it was so much fun. I love going to that area. I love New England. I love just the pairing of the witchy vibes and just how fun that town is, the themes, and the pairing with the seaside, the coastal vibes, the historical New England. It's such a unique place. And then if you have more time, I wish we did this time, but we just didn't. If you have more time, you have to take a day or two to go into Boston, because that's so much fun as well. So it really is a great trip, and I highly recommend it. And hopefully, maybe we'll see you next year at the Fiber Witch Festival. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you stick around. See you again.